Every day is a gift, and with time being so precious, let's get right into it. So I am looking at the Booktube Newbie Tag questions. Hello Booktube, I'm Olin. And the first question is, why did you start this channel? So I started this channel because I'm currently in physician assistant school. I'm studying to go into psychiatry, maybe pediatric psychiatry, and I am up to my ears in science all day, every day. And I miss talking about my favorite books. I miss being surrounded by a community of readers that I can talk to about, like, did you read the newest Stormlight Archive books? Like, oh my gosh. Or, do you remember in Harry Potter when Hermione just sicked the fuck of birds on Ron? Like, was that cool or was that slightly uncalled for? Like, I miss talking about stuff like that, and I can't really do that where I am right now. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So, like I said, I come from a scientific background. I like to think that I'm very detail-oriented, and I'm trying to bring that to my videos as well. But at the end of the day, the only thing I can really offer is just another perspective, another voice to talk about the things that we love, which are our favorite books. What are you most excited for about this new channel? A community to talk about the books that excite me. I want to hear other people's thoughts. I like sharing the excitement because I feel like we build off each other, and it's one thing to enjoy a book by yourself, but then to be able to go to somebody else and say, did you see that? And then to go, yeah, I did, that was so cool. Like, that's the greatest thing ever. Every time I finish a book, I always Google, like, I don't know, like Song of Achilles review or thoughts on the Poppy War or anything like that, to see like people talk about it so that I can share in some of that excitement. So I'm really excited to talk to people about this. Why do you love reading? I love reading for the immersion. I am a fantasy reader, and I am continually impressed by the amount of thought and care and planning and meticulous organization that must have gone into these works of literature. Like, I read Stormlight Archives, and I'm just like, how many pages of notes and world building and outline must there be for this series? Like, how many planning sessions must Brandon Sanderson have sat down for to just like think over like details and plots and character motivations and cultures? Like, it's so impressive how it comes together to form a cohesive whole, and that we can tell our characters' stories within. And I'm just these characters' stories within, and I'm just so impressed by it. And its ability to, when I'm reading it, I feel like I'm involved in it somehow. Like, these aren't just like characters over here, you know, off somewhere in fantasy land. Like, I feel like we can relate to them, which is the mark of the best kind of characters, and to see what we can draw from their journeys to inspire our own lives. What book or series got you into reading? So when I was a kid, when I was really small, actually, like younger than a kid, like a little toddler, I think, my parents started reading Harry Potter to me, and they put on all these crazy accents. And that's probably where my love of audiobooks came from, specifically. Um, and that's really what got me into it. Reading was a family activity, and I moved on from Harry Potter to other books, and I just never really stopped. I don't really remember it that much. You know how like when your parents tell you like, oh, when you were small, do you remember when you like fell off the slide, or I don't know, you smashed a cake with your face at your first birthday party? I'm just naming things randomly, and you're like, ah, I don't really remember that. But then the more they talk to you about it, you know, the more you're just like, oh yeah, you know, it's starting to come to me. I'm starting to see it. Yeah, that's not real. That's a fake memory. And that's, fun fact, that's actually like one of the reasons why eyewitness accounts are so controversial scientifically, is because we can't really trust those memories that are kind of implanted or altered by framing by other people's like suggestions. Our memories are really malleable, and it's kind of scary, but that's a whole different topic. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Probably logistical things. There's nothing really like, these are like, at the end of the day, booktube is to talk about reading and to talk about books. There's not very many questions I have about that. Really, it's more of logistical things. Like, my camera has turned off on me so many times. It'll just click off, and I'm just left being there like, why? And right now it's like stacked on like a pile of just random stuff pointing at me. Little logistical frustrations like that. Well, I mean, and the obvious questions of when are you going to review like some of my favorite books. For example, I love this book. I can't wait to talk about this book. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So, apart from the logistical things that I just mentioned, like, I'm probably gonna have to find a tripod at some point. I can't just sit against my living room wall every day. But for me, I think there are two challenges. The first one is stage fright. Like, I did a lot of theater when I was younger, so I'm not nervous about being in front of an audience. I do a lot of vocal performances, and that doesn't really make me nervous very much either. I love participating in class. I'm always like, boom, boom, you know, like hand just goes straight up to volunteer to speak. But for some reason, talking to a camera, knowing it's recorded, knowing that I can't really see my audience, it's a totally different experience, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. That's the first one. And then the second one is just coming up with content, although since we are just talking about books that we love, it's not really as pressing. Like, I think it's just an instinctual thing we hear about YouTubers talking a lot about, like, the grind and, you know, the rat race of coming up with videos. But, like, I'm not going to be, like, a YouTuber. I'm just here to talk about books that I love. So that's really something that's not really going to apply. It's just an immediate anxiety that's, like, rearing its ugly head as I stare into the camera. Next one, when did you start reading? Like I said, my family read to me Harry Potter, so as soon as I got old enough to pick up a book, like, that's what we started reading together as a family, and then I branched out from there. So as soon as I was able to, like, comprehend words on a page, and I think definitely reading being a family experience and my parents reading to me and with me as I got older, that really helped me learn how to read faster. That, and interestingly enough, Legend of Zelda games, like video games, my parents really got tired of reading to me the text on my favorite, like, A Link to the Past kind of games and Link's Awakening. So they were just like, learn how to read yourself if you want to play these games. And it's like, I can't just not play my favorite games. So I don't know, I feel like I had some pressures to learn to read as soon as possible so I could play my favorite video games. Where do you read? Like I said, I love audiobooks. I also have ADHD really bad, so I'm actually twitching a lot. I hope you can't see it. If you can, I'm so sorry. But it's really hard for me to sit still for too long. So the idea of sitting down with a physical book and just sitting there and reading for, like, hours, it's really hard for me to do. I love audiobooks, and I have to drive around a lot to, like, for school and, like, you know, stuff like that. So audiobooks are really my best friend. I love going on walks. A lot of my videos are going to be like me talking while I cook, me talking while I walk, just because it's easier for me to do that. So that's where I read, mostly on the go. I do sometimes like to indulge and, you know, curl up on the couch with a blanket, a good book, a nice sipping hot mug of tea. I don't have a fire, but if I did have a fire, you bet it'd be crackling. Merrily, no less. So the last one is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I am a huge fantasy fan. I love fantasy. I love reading in my genre. There's so many exciting things happening in fantasy lately. Like, for so many decades, we've been constrained to, like, the same kind of European mythology, like, following the same kind of story beats. But lately, we've had this huge surge of multiculturalism, which is so exciting. Stories drawing from myths from all over the world, like the Poppy War, Akata Witch, Children of Blood and Bone, just from all over the place. And I really, really love it. And we're experimenting with new story forms, and, like, Black Leopard, Red Wolf, it's like, you know, shaking up the genre, and I love it. I haven't read that yet. I tried to listen to an audiobook. It did not work. So I am super stoked to get actually a physical copy of that and read it, because that book, from the little that I read of it, I need to really sit down with it to, like, get through it. So I love fantasy, but my MFA advisor, I'm in an MFA program, she's telling me that I have to read outside my genre to, like, really see, like, what books from all across literature are doing, and I mean, that's good too. So I'm reading some Louise Penny, some mystery. I like some mysteries. I like some thrillers, mostly mysteries outside of fantasy, I think, for right now. Love fantasy. That's my big one. So that is all of the questions that we have on booktubers.fandom.com/wiki/booktube_newbie_tag. So that's going to be it for today. In the comments, let me know. I don't like being asked what my favorite fantasy book is, or my favorite book is in general. So just let me know what book you are excited about right now. I'm looking for books across genres, especially series. So let me know what a really good book that you enjoy is. And until my next video, just remember, every day is precious, and I hope you find something in your day that makes you smile. Have a good one.